You are listening to the TheVCast.
$35. That is the first time. That's the first paycheck that I ever got in comedy. That's the first time I ever got paid.
Wow, that's what I thought it was.
That's the first time I ever got paid. I'm turning it off because I don't like the way it sounds.
What about?
So I just do it so that I don't have to hear. Because if I listen to it, the echo.
It's weird. I know. It's weird.
Then I can't. I don't like listening to it.
Well, am I coming in okay over here?
Yeah, everything's good.
Oh, we're good.
The
Okay.
levels,
Great.
The levels are good. I had to go through great lengths. We were talking about the mics, and you were guessing how much these mics are. And
Are we recording right now?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, yeah,
we're on. This is Dave
Namery's
Namery's
on. I
on.
like it. No, just
on,
right
bro.
into it. Just start going.
Just how we would talk. Well, we have great. The only people I want to talk to are people I have really good conversations with. That I'm like, wow, somebody else would probably benefit to have listened to, to have listened to that conversation.
Yeah. All right.
Even just a little bit.
No, that makes sense. We do have good conversations.
Yeah. So you were asking how much these mics are, and your guess was?
My first guess, I think, was, what did I say? $180?
Yeah.
But what's the answer?
That was a pretty aggressive guess. The answer, sir, is $45.
Are you serious? Jesus. For the whole thing?
Yes. Bro.
$45 each?
Yes, man.
Holy shit.
Look at how, you see how it clamps to it? Like that. Like this is all through trial and error. Like I got this. I helped Clint Esposito move. And I got this table from his sister. They were throwing it out. I was like, I'll take it. I need a table to sit down at. And then I got these clamps. But I bought this black cover for over it because it's like a old wooden table.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to just look like generic. So I got that. But then I had this clamp on top of it. And it was like slipping off. So anytime me and you were just like trying to move this to just get closer to the mic, like it would slip off and it'd be real freaking suspect. So then I went underneath. The cloth. And then
you realize that everyone who's listening has no idea. They can't make a visual. They have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. I'm talking
Post a picture of your setup on Instagram.
Pictures. I have been
just
posting
a picture of this table.
Only the loyal listener.
This is like the most budget table
right?
too, because like you don't even have a MacBook.
No,
you got a PC.
I got a PC.
That just screams budget.
It is, man. But you know what? I'm running this.
It's got a big screen though.
Bro, 2 USBs. Do you know that Windows does not recognize 2 audio devices, separate audio? So I thought, hey, it's plug and play. I'm just going to be able to get these 2 USB mics and plug them in, and they'll just play. But no, it doesn't recognize it. I need to download additional software that takes both of them and mixes them into one audio feed.
Oh, that's kind of gay.
Geek shit, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's geeky.
Real geeky, but
it worked.
But I'm doing it, and I'm watching YouTube videos to try to like I'm helping clean out the audio. I like the one I posted one today that I did yesterday, or no, I did it this morning by myself, and I did like 50 minutes. About 50 minutes solo, and just a rant off the top of my head. And talking about the UFC fight, because I was like, I don't know if Dave watches UFC, and like I really want to get this
I watched the fight last night.
Bro.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was really great. You like Conor, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm a big Cowboy fan too, but I knew
nothing about Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
The way, and then I was like, oh, this guy's a douchebag. Before the fight started, I was like, what are you doing with a stupid hat, man? But after the fight, when he was just so, I was like, I love this guy. Because of the post-fight interview, and he was just like, yeah, because Joe was like, were you surprised by the shoulders? And he was just like, yeah, man. He's like, hey, he just fucked me up with the shoulder. I was like, I love Cowboy now.
And then he was like, what did he say? He's like, he hit me with that shit. I never seen nothing like that. And then I pulled back and I couldn't see shit, and he head kicked me. He's like, I got my ass kicked early tonight.
Yeah.
But because he's a guy, UFC, long, long term. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a super vet.
And this guy always shows up. He's short notice. Somebody drops out. This guy steps up.
Right.
He's always training, always ready, but he's also does a lot of crazy shit like ride motorcycles and scuba dive.
Yeah.
And fucking do all kind of nutty shit that people worried, like, are you going to make it to the fight? Like, you know what I mean? The fucking shit that he does. And then that was a perfect example. But you know what? Before I had Conor, I was like, you know what? I've doubted Conor so many times. And then after he won his second championship, I was like, bro, I'm not doubting that guy no more. After he beat another probably Hall of Famer in Eddie Alvarez, he pieced him up quick to win the 2 titles. And I was like, he's not beating that guy. He's bigger. He's like, this guy's a champ. He's like beat so many guys. And he fucking made him look like an amateur. So then last night when the Cowboy was pacing before the fight and he was looking at Conor, I was like, yo, Cowboy might kill Conor.
I know. I got worried because I feel like I overestimated how important body language is just because of the Jorge Masvidal fight. Exactly. That made me start thinking differently about body language because like that fight when he fought, what the fuck was that guy's name? Ben Askren, right? When he just kicked him with he got him with the knee. Yeah. It was so crazy because Ben Askren was doing that pacing back and forth thing and getting hyped, and Jorge Masvidal is just leaning on the back of the fence. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you knew that fight was over before it started just because of the body language, or at least like that was I was like after the fight ended, I was like, oh, of course he was going to win that. But then I was watching. I was wrong almost about every fight last night because I was trying to I was trying to pinpoint that because like Conor wasn't really looking at Cowboy. He was just kind of glancing at him. Cowboy was staring at him. Yes. Yeah, but Conor was more modest than he's been in a long time. But obviously
there's history. There's history between Conor. See, when Conor was on his tear, right, and he was on his way before he won that second championship, before he won the second championship in the second weight class, he was on a tear where he was killing people before the fight. He was beating people up in press conferences with his words. Right. And there was a time when he was in a press conference and Cowboy was sitting directly behind him. And Cowboy was like, there's no way, you're too little. You're not beating anybody. You're stepping up to 155. You're going to get beat up, son. Like, just tried to say something. And then Conor went off, did his thing, got his jabs in. So I thought when I saw him pacing, I'm like, oh, he still remembers that. Right. He still holding on to that. But it didn't seem like,
I mean, as soon as the fight ended, Conor gave him a hug and shit. Like, no, they probably like,
Conor was super humble this time. Yeah. Getting choked out.
I was proud of him. He didn't do the walk. No. I wanted to see the walk. But I want to see the walk when he beats someone up who's an asshole, who's as big an asshole as he is. But clearly Cowboy is not an asshole.
No, Cowboy
so it was good that he, like, if he beats up, I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, I'm not even a big UFC guy. I just watch big fights if I'm with someone and they're willing to pay the $65 or whatever. I'm never going to do, like, I'll never buy it myself.
Dude, you know? I was supposed to miss it last night. I was supposed to go to the comedy, Tiff's Comedy Club.
Where is
Morris Plains?
It's in Morris Plains. Is that a cool spot?
Yeah, it's supposed to be up and coming now. Oh. Tiff's, it's a restaurant, and the guy loves comedy, and he wants to do comedy, so he started doing, like, Bob Levy's been doing a lot of shows.
Yeah, I mean, some people we know were on it, right? Wasn't Clint?
Filter Paul. Clint was supposed to be on it last night, so I had talked to Clint, and I was like, I'm going to go to the show so I can get in with the people there. He's like, yeah, come meet this guy. He's cool, you know, and, you know, once you meet him, you know, he's trying to look for young talent and stuff around. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll just go to the show. I can meet Bob Levy. I talk to him on Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. I'll go support the show. And then I ended up shoveling snow for Clint, and I almost died.
Wasn't that a while ago?
No, that was yesterday.
Oh, that was yesterday.
Oh my shit. God. I almost died last night just for what I would do just for some extra money. What I put myself through. I did not expect that, bro. I shoveled like 30 houses.
That's insane.
None of them were mine. I didn't even shovel mine yesterday. Thank God it was a nice day today and it all melted.
Yeah, I know.
Else it would have been, I would have had to go out there and like my back is crippled. I called Clint. I was like, hey, bro, I can't do this no more. I got to go.
Shoveling sucks, man.
Bro, it wasn't even the shoveling. It was the carrying this 50-pound bag of salt. We had a guy with a snow blower and he had like a leaf blower that he was using too. So I was just doing steps, like 2 steps and like a fucking corner. Easy, and then like a little bit of the driveway, but he was going ahead of me doing most of it, and I had to carry that fucking bag of salt. That shit was grueling, bro. I feel like I was like I worked out with The Rock or something. Like that's what I feel like.
You look like you lost weight.
I have.
Since
I
the
lost
last
10
time I
pounds,
saw you.
man. I've been back on
It's mostly
eating
the
once a
shoveling?
day.
Oh,
No.
You eat once a day, is it?
Yeah, man.
You think that's good?
It's great.
Well, how much do you eat the one time?
Well,
You
it's
eat a
not
lot,
the one
right?
time. I eat like in a window.
Oh, so you do intermittent fasting?
Yeah, exactly.
But how big's the window?
From 7 at night to 12 a.m.
At night you do it? I feel like that's not even a good idea.
What?
I feel like you're doing it the wrong way.
That's the way you do it.
I think you're not supposed to do it that way.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Because
I
that's
thought you were
how
supposed to do it like 2 p.m. to
you
like
can.
7 or 8.
There's no
I thought
right
it was like
way.
2 to 8.
You can do it that way if that's your eating habits. Like the time that you do it has no effect on your weight loss or weight gain. Like there's no better time to do it. But it's only going to be what's beneficial for you as far as your lifestyle, your schedule. Me, I eat late, and I like to eat a lot late. I get the munchies, and I want to eat late or because of my schedule. So when I don't eat all day, I'm so much sharper at work and everything. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of doing it. I didn't do it all at once. Like, first I just started eating breakfast later. And gradually built up to like
I did that for a long
breakfast.
time. I should start doing it again because I remember.
Save money too, bro.
Yeah.
Eating out.
But you also like can tap into a focus that you can't tap into unless you're really hungry.
Yes.
Where you stop. It's kind of like after. It's like you're hungry for a while, but then you kind of forget about the hunger. Especially if you have something that you can focus on, like at work.
Exactly.
Or if you're writing jokes or
The
something.
weekends is rough. Today, and the weekends I only last till like 3:00.
Right. It's trickier.
It's about
trickier.
because then I'm like not doing much.
You're bored. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to eat something, and I'm like, you know what? But the good thing too is how I'm really losing weight is I'm actually tracking the calories I burn versus the calories I take in, right? So I'm tracking my numbers. So like going into Friday, I had 8,000 calories for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I was like, that's 2,700 meals I can break out in these 3 days.
2,700 calorie meals.
Yeah, so I don't even try to eat like that because I just eat a real big meal, and then I have my snacks afterwards, and I have like my fiber gummies to make sure I make up for the lack of vegetables that I don't eat, like my multivitamin to try to make up the micronutrients, and that's it. I just try to stay, like I don't drink any calories, no soda.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not drinking beer that much. Like, just trying to cut down to see if I can get down to like 230. I started working out again and stretching. I'm just trying to like get back to fucking Iron Man mode.
Yeah, dude, I don't even like. I just want to. I've said this to be. I just want to have like a soccer player physique, like a tennis player physique. I don't want to be jacked or anything. I don't give a shit.
But the amount of fucking work that they do to get that body.
I know. Yeah, you know what?
That's the problem.
Not even
That's
close
where
there. Not even.
where,
Still not even like an out of shape tennis player. That's what I want to look like. Like the least in shape professional tennis player. That's the kind of physique that I want. I don't want to look like Rafael Nadal.
Yeah.
I want to look like the guy that you never even heard of. And you're kind of like, he looks like a
He's
little
an
out of shape.
important player.
Yeah, you're like, you can't see his. I don't want to see my abs. I don't care. I've never seen my abs before. I don't care what they look like. I'm not interested.
No, I want the whole.
I just want to get the jiggle to go away. But I'm 26. I mean, you're like a boomer, right?
Yeah.
You're like old as fuck.
Okay.
So
boomer.
it's like it's like your metabolism's like it's past.
I need to.
It's past this over the slope.
I want
right?
to go. Yeah, I need, and my shit's all messed up from juicing. Too.
Oh, really?
My hormone levels are all fucked up too. So like, I feel like a sluggish old man, and my body responds like a sluggish old man. Like once you come off, especially if you come off fucked up like the way I did, like a broke guy does. Because if you have a lot of money, then you're all right. You could actually maintain.
I had a neighbor who was like cycling, and he was doing it all the right way, and I was like, that's so intense because it's really like.
Chemistry.
There's the lead into it is pretty brief, and then you're on it, but the post is like longer.
Yeah.
And then there were a bunch of
the maintenance.
That stuff's like more expensive than the steroids themselves in some cases.
Man,
just the shit to get your body back right.
Exactly, and that's where people get fucked up, especially if you see. I was doing that, and then like you said, it gets too expensive. So what I would do is I learned how to save money by just never going off.
There you go. That's the spirit.
I just stayed on, and that fucked me up too. I just stayed on for like prolonged periods of time because I knew coming off was number one going to be expensive and a lot of work, and I get that feeling like the armor comes off. You know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck, man, I don't want to do that. I want to fucking stay armored up. I want to stay shelled up, man. I was an insecure mess when I started doing steroids. That's the podcast I was actually recording before this.
Really?
Yeah, about the Landmark Forum. I don't know if you ever heard of that. I think that Joe Rogan mentioned it once when he talked to somebody on a podcast. And when he mentioned it, this was like long before I even heard of Joe Rogan. But when he mentioned it, I was like, oh shit. Like I never knew anybody else heard of it. It was like, it's this 3-day seminar I did back in 2007, 2008, around there. And it was, just a fucking people. They think it's a cult. Like they talk about it like it's a cult because that's only because they try to recruit you like a cult after you take it because they want like more people. They want you to spread their word. That's how they do their.
So you become like a Jehovah's Witness.
Yes, bro. You become the most Jehovah Witness.
And you just look for meatheads.
Yes. Bro, no, not even meatheads. It's just you have this experience when you do the program, right? Well, at least I did. I know people that had the same experience as me, and then I know people that haven't had a good experience and that think it's all stupid, right? So the people that have had a good experience come away feeling really good, and they play on that. Right, and they want you to like. It's almost like AA. They want you to spread the message.
But you're not. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know.
Like, what is this? Like it's like a seminar. It's a 3-day seminar. It's like one of these Tony Robbins things. It's like, what is it? It's like, where's the point?
It's more like mental exercises to break down decisions that you made when you weren't fully mentally developed. When you were young, you had traumatic situations or things happen and you made a decision in your head and now you live your life through that filter from that decision that you made, and it affects your life as an adult. You're constantly you're preventing yourself from living another life because you're living your life as you determined when you were younger and at a different time than you are like now.
Focusing on childhood trauma
and just it is childhood trauma because it happens to you. You know, these are decisions. Like one of mine was when I was shopping with my mom. I wanted Boss jeans. My mom said that she couldn't afford Boss jeans, so she told me no. I had to get Arizona jeans at Sears. So in my mind, I wasn't worth that level like everybody else had. I made this decision that me and my family were less than. I didn't understand budgets and finance. I was fucking 12. You know what I mean? All I understood was I couldn't have that like everybody else could. That's cool. So I must be a piece of shit. So now I always had that thing in my mind that I'm a piece of shit. So everything I did, I always did it with that insecurity.
Oh.
So it was hard for me to approach things. I would not intentionally do things like talk to white people because I always felt like I was less than approaching them, and it made me insecure.
This is interesting, man.
Yeah, so then that 3-day seminar is exercises you do to kind of take apart and shine the light on these things.
I see.
So you like have all these, and then they talk about like these rackets that you form, and like a racket is like back in the day you had speakeasies, so you would create this storefront, and then you had this real thing behind. So you create this story and this storefront in front of you, and behind you have like this whole fucking racket going on, but you're creating this story, and then you create this racket so far, so long ago that now you even believe that the storefront is real.
That's an analogy to use. I mean, I feel like that's what a lot of therapists do.
100%.
That's what they're doing.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
In a $450, that was back then. Maybe it's probably more now. It might be like
it's actually not that bad, depending.
It's 3 nights, and then you have another
therapists
night.
Are expensive, is what I mean.
That's what I'm saying.
If
so
you
this
go
is one package
prolonged for a few years, that ends up unless your insurance covers it.
Yeah, then you get. But even if you're like, if I have insurance, if I want to go to a therapist, I still have to pay $50 a visit. That's still fucking a lot. If you don't have insurance, it's like $125 or something like that. But for the amount of therapy that you need to kind of discover this is like an accelerated with an actual focus point on you getting it, because they show you like these areas of your life. There's the things that you know, there's the things that you don't, there's the things that you know, there's the things that you know that you don't know, then there's the things that you don't know that you don't know. So that's like where they try to put you into like the things that all these blind spots that you have in how you cover it. So like So this was all shit that I was doing when I was in AA. I think I talked to you about that when I
I don't think you did.
No, when we were outside and you were like, you never talk about that. And I told you I was like hardcore in AA.
I feel like I've said that about so many things that you've said. Where you say, because you're like, you've had a very interesting life, and then you'll just drop tidbits in conversation. I'll go, what the fuck are you doing?
I know. That's
I'm like, why do you not have a joke about that or a podcast about that? Like, what are you doing?
I know. That's why, like, every time I try to come out, now that doing these more frequently and having this down here, like, that's why this morning I felt so.
This is so much better, dude. Do you still have those episodes up?
Of what? Of my old?
The early episodes when you were recording with your fucking phone?
Yeah, with this stupid mic. Look at this thing. This thing was a $25 Amazon mic.
To anyone listening right now, don't listen to the really early episodes because Vic would drop the mic. It would pop out. Something would happen.
Right?
It was so jarring. It was like someone shot a gun in my car. That's what it sounded like. And then Vic would just go, "Oh, my bad. I dropped the mic." And I'm like, "Fuck you, Vic." And I just stopped listening. I'm like, that was so jarring. First of all, it just sounded horrible.
Yeah.
You would have been better off just recording with your phone.
It was
But then it would pop. It would pop
my
so
God.
loud. It scared the shit out of me.
The wiring on it, it got so bad that it was just like, I would not, like, I'd have to do a podcast without moving. Like, that's how I would be. Like, I would not want to move or to have any sudden hand movements, because if I hit the wire for any, like, if I started talking, like, got excited and I hit that wire, it would be like, whoosh, and it'd be like, and it would pop in my ear if I was wearing the headphones, and I'd be like, oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, pop the speakers in your fucking car. I won't even have a dope mixtape to do it with.
No, it was not. There was no mixtape required.
Nothing.
It was just
I hope it was at least something.
It was your negligence.
Something beneficial for you.
There was nothing beneficial about it. It was legitimate damage to my ego and my eardrums.
No, man, these mics are good because it doesn't pick up, like...
These are much better, yeah.
It doesn't pick up a lot of noise. And then now I just learned, today's podcast that I uploaded, I just learned how to filter out, like, that noise.
Yeah.
Filter out, like, in all those
ambient
silences. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say this when we were talking about the mics. I was at Guitar Center. And I'm in the mic section, and you can put on headphones and try out each of the mics and see how they sound. And you can hear yourself through like the 70, like the Shure mics that are like just the standard basic mic that's at every open mic. Mm-hmm. It's just the black and then the silver head. Every fucking mic has that same mic. It's like Shure, SHURE, whatever. And it's like they're pretty good. They're solid. They have a good reputation and stuff. But you could put that one on and speak into it, and it'd be like, oh, this sounds good. And then you can put the $500 mic, which looks like a way more intense version of this mic that you have, and it would sound a little better, but not $430 better, not even close. It sounded like $50 better, maybe. Wow. But they're like $500. I'm like, this is insane. It's so unnecessary. Unless you just got money to blow, like you're Joe Rogan. You're like, let's just get the best possible microphone that money could buy.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's like pointless.
There's got to be some other benefit to it.
I don't know, because
compatibility.
Well, this is the other thing I'm thinking about. Like Sean Barry. You know Sean Barry, right? Okay, well, he's a friend of mine, and he does his podcast. Sometimes we'll do podcasts together. We'll double release them, and he'll send me a WAV file. I don't know what kind of files you turn these into. It's MP3. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. Yeah. So he'll send me these WAV files, and it's as big a file as like a movie.
Yeah.
The file is insanely big, and I use Anchor. Do you use Anchor?
No, I use my site.
I use Anchor to upload my podcast, and they won't even accept something bigger than 250 megabytes. But a WAV file that's like 15 minutes is over 250 megabytes.
I can't do over 80 megabytes on my site.
Well, then, you just do an MP3 file. They're 45, tiny. They're tiny in comparison, and they sound almost identically as good. And then especially when you think about the fact that, like, when you buy music on iTunes, it's not a WAV file. It's an MP3 file. Yep. So it's like, if every professional musician is releasing their music on MP3 files, is it really necessary to release your podcast as a WAV file? Like, it just does not make sense.
It's just it's annoying in the background too. Like you said, just the size of the file, and I would have to convert it. I wouldn't even keep the WAV file. Like,
if Anchor allowed me to upload shit that big, it would take like an hour. It's like when you upload a video to YouTube, even if it's a 10-minute video, it takes forever because it's a huge file. But the WAV files are enormous, and it's like you could just convert it to an MP3 file, and it would sound exactly the same. No one would tell the difference. Maybe like a highly paid music producer would be like, this is an MP3 file. He should have done a WAV file. Yeah. No one else would notice. No one.
I don't even know how you could have like that kind of sound, that ear for sound where you pick up like, I'm sure you could pick up like, especially doing producing, you could probably pick up like edits.
Yeah, but you have to be looking for it, and like the average person who's just listening to a podcast doesn't really care.
Listen, I haven't been doing much learning of like editing and stuff, right? But the little bit that I've learned, I've instantly become snotty with it. So I could imagine a producer that has put in so much time, and then they listen to somebody else's shit, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't even clean this file." Like,
well, it's because they want it to be more important.
Yeah.
It's like when we see a comedian at a show with real people, and they do a hacky joke, and it gets a big laugh, and we go, "No, that wasn't funny." But we're just mad that this person's doing the easiest possible form of our art form. And they're getting big laughs. And we're like, fuck you. Because the whole crowd is a bunch of like old people and they love hack shit.
Yeah.
But we can get as mad as we want. But everyone else in the crowd is like, that was funny.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there and we're like, that's not funny. You don't know comedy.
Yeah.
You know, so it kind of makes us the assholes.
I do the same thing. I don't, because I know the reward is temporary. Right? That's like the story that I write.
What do you mean?
Like the reward for doing like hacky jokes at shows is temporary. You get that laugh, but how long is that sustainable in the long run versus taking chances and developing and growing? You know what I mean? Like doing those kind of jokes, I feel could probably keep you afloat in a certain scenario, but I don't feel like it wouldn't be good to propel you to.
No way. I mean, I also depend. I mean, it depends what you want. Like for me, I want lots of I want the comedians that I respect to respect me too. But if I was doing hack shit, they would never respect me because I think like a comedian, so I know how they think.
Yeah.
And then if I was doing that bullshit, they'd be like, "Fuck this guy." You know, it's gonna be bad enough because I'm gonna be the guy that they're gonna be like, he only makes Jew jokes, but I'm gonna be like, at least they're very smart and very offensive.
And they're yours.
Yeah, exactly. And they're mine, and no one else does them. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I was thinking about. I was listening to some, like master classes. They're pretty dope. Like Nate just gave me them as a gift because I guess Nate got them. Nate Bennett. Shout out to Nate Bennett. Thank you. And he just gave me them as a gift. So because I guess you can share it with one person. No, it's like video, audio. So I was listening to Neil Gaiman. You ever hear him? Really great author.
Can you spell his last name?
Gaiman. I know. I always thought it was Gaiman, and then it's Gaiman, and I'm like, that's unfortunate, but whatever. So he was saying something about like style, because he's talking about like finding your voice with writing, because he did a masterclass about storytelling, and I was like, this will be applicable to comedy. I also like to write stories. Also subscribe to my podcast, Storytime with Dave.
Storytime with Dave. Yo, great plug. It is a great podcast.
Available on
iTunes,
Apple
Spotify,
Podcasts. Yeah.
Stitcher. I got on everything this weekend.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
It was good. It was good.
Good job. Good job.
Thanks. I'm very proud of the work I'm putting in.
Well, he said something about style, like creating a style, which is part of creating your voice. And this is applicable to stand-up and to writing. But he's like... And he said he's like, I think I'm quoting Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, but he's like, I'm not even sure if I'm quoting him. But he's like, I think I heard this from him. That style is like basically the mistakes that you make because you want to master something. So you get to a certain point, you've mastered music, and then it's like the things that you don't do that contribute to your style. Because like you could do everything if you wanted to. You could play exactly how it's meant to be played. But it's like the little things you do that are like quote unquote wrong. They're not actually wrong. They're just like wrong technically. That makes your style. And so like I feel like for comedians who are hacks, they don't want to fuck up. They're afraid of a joke falling flat. So they'll just play it safe. Yeah. And then they become hacks because they just do this over and over and over again. Like you and me, we are more than willing to take risks with our jokes. And to have it fall flat. Yeah. But then that's how we'll develop a more distinct voice in the long run because we learn over time how to make those things work. Like, how do you make this joke work? I know it's a horrible thing, but you can learn like little tricks to make it work more
set it up,
consistently. Yeah, exactly.
how you deliver it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned you know what? You know that, like you say, like, you know that Chick-fil-A joke I do where I say Chick-fil-A so good I don't even like gay people anymore. So I was doing that joke on in Bloomfield at Grisel Cabrera's old spot,
right?
Where her and
they still have that. That still goes on.
Ty Rainey, right?
And like Gordon will host it sometimes.
Like it's Ty's show really now.
Yeah.
But she had invited me on, and I did that joke, and there was a gay guy in the audience. But either way, I don't know what happened, how I said it or anything, but that thing has been a consistent joke for me. Yeah. That I've always used it. That's my hacky joke. In my mind, a hacky joke for me is a joke I've done so much that I don't want to hear it anymore.
Sure.
But I reach for it when I'm scared. Like when I go out on a limb and try something, and then like once I get out to that point in the water where I don't have anywhere to go and I need to get like a safety net, so then I reach back and I pull that joke, and I said that, and like nobody laughed. It kind of just sat there. The only people that laughed were the comics in the back, right? The comics in the back
naturally
laughed.
Yeah.
The people didn't. They kind of like they were scared because there was the gay guy, and the gay guy was like, I gotta go, and then got up and walked out. Yes, he got up and walked, and I was like, yeah, I don't blame you for leaving either. And then I went in even harder. As he left, then I started going in like towards the hateful second part of it, because it gets more hateful after that. Right. And I doubled down and went like, I'm already midway into it. And I laid in.
You're gonna leave on that?
He left on the.
I can't believe that.
He left on the end of that part, and then I kept going with the rest, and then the rest got laughs. Like then it came around. I guess everybody else knew he was gay, and once he left, everybody felt comfortable laughing about it.
Good. I did.
He came back and I was like, "We all talked about you while you were gone." I love doing that to people. We all talked about you while you were gone.
I was at Rhino and I told a joke on Friday. That was it wasn't even racist. I think I said like, I know that you're not supposed to say racist things, but like, what if you have cancer? There was just like a premise. Like it was a thought that I had before I went on stage.
How dare you have a thought in the mic?
I know. And then, so then I'm like, everyone got uncomfortable, and I was like, look around, guys. I was like, there's no black people here, so fucking relax. I was like, there are 2 Hispanic people here. I pointed them out. It's like, you guys aren't gonna say anything, right?
See, but
it wasn't even racist. Like I just asked the question, and then I was like, would you really get mad at a white person being racist if they had cancer? Like, would you really get mad if their hair was thinning and shit and they were wearing like a scarf over their head? Like, you'd really get mad at them for being like, what if it's a bucket list thing? What if they were like, before I die, I want to say some racist shit? Like,
whatever. Say the N-word once.
I mean, exactly. I'd be like, that's the exception. You know? Come on. Oh, you'll like this because you remember on Tuesday when the Blue Lives Matter guy and I did that bit?
Yeah, that was great.
At Nikki's?
Yeah.
I'll tell them the bit. I pointed at this guy with a Blue Lives Matter sweatshirt. He was being a good sport.
Yeah.
And he was sitting right in the front, and I was like, sir, I noticed you're wearing a Blue Lives Matter sweatshirt. I'm just glad to know that I'm not the only one here who hates black people.
That was good.
And like, it gets like there, because he was there, it made it get a great reaction.
Yeah.
Because... And the joke, it's like, it just sounds racist, but it's not, because the joke is more like, you're wearing a Blue Lives Matter sweatshirt, you're probably racist. That's
it's pointing out
joke.
The absurdity of it.
It's not, I just have to say, I'm glad I'm not the only one who hates blacks. That's just the delivery mechanism. Like, I fucking love black people, but I gotta say that for that joke to work. So I'm at Irv's show at JSQ Lounge a few nights later on Friday. This was last Friday. Okay. And I was like, I'm going to tell him that story. And this room was colorful. Let me tell you, dude, this room, there were like barely any white people. There was like, 7 black people. I mean, there were probably like 40 people there. No, maybe 35. Mm-hmm. It was like Hispanic, black, me, and one other Jew. There was one other Jew. It was just me and him. And then like a couple white people. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to say, because I was in the middle of my set. I was having fun. And I was like, I want to tell you guys a story, but you're not going to like it. You know? And then I'm like, you know what? I go, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. And then this black lady on the side who was like a very, what would you call it? She was very like, oh, hell no. You know, she was like one of those black ladies. Yes. And she was like, no, you tell that joke. You tell that joke. And I was like,
she wanted it.
I was like, are you sure?
Yes.
And then she's like, yeah, you tell that. And then I told them the story and I did the punchline and shit. And they just went wild. They go, oh my God. And I went, no, stop. I was like, it's not racist. I was like, I'm saying that he's racist. It was so funny. Dude. It was wild. It was like one of the biggest risks I ever took on stage. And it just felt amazing. It felt amazing. Holy shit. I had so much fun.
That's what I really like about comedy right now, especially with all the pushback about, PC culture and what do you want to say? Like, the only thing I fear is losing my job. Like that, I have that filter on a lot of things I do. Because I don't want to rock that boat. Obviously, I have to pay for this fucking house. I can't risk that. Other than that, I just feel like the people that really get offended have other things that are going on that are more problematic than what I said. And that sometimes the only avenue you have is to go after that. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way that you want to lash out is there because you can't lash out at your husband that hits you. Like you can't lash out at your boss that ridicules you every day. You can't lash out at your parents that support you. You know, like you have all these outlets that you can't take advantage of. So you have to dump it on this fucking poor asshole with a mic on at this restaurant while you're trying to eat your meal.
Yeah. Some people like go out of their way for it. Mm-hmm. And then that seems to be like I just feel like these people got a lot of shit, like you said, like built up inside. And so they're looking for a fight. And they know
something else that's going on that a joke bothers you.
Yeah, but you know what? It's kind of like I got banned from Twitter, as you know. And life's way better without Twitter because you find all the hate on Twitter and then you get this perception that there are lots of people who you could just go to battle with. But then when you're out in the real world, then no one's that way. And then it's more boring. I mean, it's like life is less stressful for me now, but I enjoyed finding people who had these opinions that I was like.
How long has it been?
6 months or something?
6 months
maybe
since
more.
You got banned on Twitter?
Yeah.
What did you get banned for?
Let's see. I called David Hogg retarded like one too many times, I guess.
Okay.
I think I called him retarded and I got banned from 24 hours. And then I called Linda Sarsour retarded, who's like the Muslim who's in charge of the Women's March, which is hilarious because she wears a hijab. And I'm just like, do people not see the irony here? This is hilarious. and then
it's
I
her
got
choice.
Yeah. Well, I got banned for a week for doing that. And then I came back. And I was a good boy for a little bit. But then David Hogg tweeted something retarded again. And I could not resist. And I said, this is retarded. And I'm not even like right wing. I'm neither. But I do, like if someone says something, like I'll do that shit to whoever. It's just that's where I got banned. Because the people who follow people like David Hogg and people like Linda Sarsour, they'll patrol the comments looking for people saying the things that I'm saying. And then they report my tweet. Like, David Hogg gets 10,000 replies to any of his tweets.
Like moderators.
Yeah, people aren't going to... I slip under the radar that way. But people who see it, they report it. That's what gets me in trouble. Mm-hmm. You know? That's always how it is. Because, like, I had said things like that to whoever. You could say it to whoever. It's cares. Just like if they have the type of following who are a bunch of snitches... then they'll get you. They'll fucking get you.
You fucking snitch followers.
But I think, but this is the point that I was going to make because I would go on Twitter seeking out people to do battle with and to feel better than, like I was better than them. And I think that maybe that's what people do. People are like, comedy is like the real world version of that. So if you're a person who has very strong opinions and does not want to hear people say certain things, then you can go see a comedy show to see if people are saying the things that you hate, and they will be. Especially if it's an open mic. Yeah. They will say that stuff that you don't want to hear, and then you can then you can battle in real life and you can like let all this shit out of you. When in reality, you should just like get a hobby maybe or something like that.
That feeling of wanting to battle and wanting to argue and wanting to get your point across is so toxic. Like it's not only it's not toxic in it's not only toxic in negativity. It can be really toxic in negativity. Some people do it professionally for their blog and their stuff, and that's their dynamic, that's their personality. But for me, it was just toxic in time, the amount of time it consumed for me, and the amount of time I spent with negative feelings. You know what I mean? With that rage of trying to answer, all that time, that stress that you hold, and that's what, like, that shit rides you. That was the birth of the first social media break. That's coming up soon. February is coming up soon. I'm doing it again.
You should.
February, doing the whole month. It's a leap year, so I got an extra day to fucking hang.
This is what I learned, because have you ever had Twitter mobs sicked on you? Like people with real followings and they send a mob on you by quote?
Not virally, like small.
I had one big one, but before I had taken a break like maybe a year and a half ago because I had been going at it with some like Palestinian activist who had like 60,000 followers, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But she quote tweeted something that I said, and then I just had the hounds on me, dog. I mean, they were coming after me. And the thing is I've noticed this about certain people, that they'll go to your bio, they'll find out that you're a comedian, they'll look you up on YouTube, they'll find your YouTube clips, they'll link your YouTube clips to you, and then they'll call you a piece of shit and tell you to kill yourself and quit comedy. And then that was like getting to me, because I was like, fuck you guys. I was like, we're arguing about Israel-Palestine. We're not arguing about my fucking comedy. But I'm like, these people, so I lost. I took the L because I let it get to me.
Yeah.
Now, something that happened later on, right before I got banned from Twitter, I like learned how to use Twitter for real and like how to be a real troll, because real trolling is fun, because that's the point. Like if you're fucking with someone on the internet and you're smiling and laughing, then you're trolling. If you're serious, then you're not trolling. Then you're serious. Then you're engaged with them and you're feeling the same way they are. So you're just creating negative emotions for yourself and for them, hopefully, but maybe not even. And so towards the end, I totally took a different perspective on it. And so I was saying things that like, but right before I got banned, I got banned for life. I made a new account using my ex-girlfriend's phone number. And they let me slide for a little bit, but they found me eventually. It only lasted for a week. But during that week, I got into Twitter beef with Talib Kweli. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that, yes.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was a long exchange.
Yeah, and that was like, Talib Kweli has like 1 million followers, and he sicked them on me. And that, I was like, this is great. Because I learned so much. I learned how to be a real troll that I was just calling all of his... We were going back, and he was like, he doesn't hate white people, but he will go after white people so hard in sometimes ridiculous ways. Like... It's obviously super understandable in a lot of ways, but he'll go after them in ways where you're thinking like, this just isn't fair. You're like, you're just being ridiculous. And so I was having people come at me who were like really like black activists, and I was just calling them crackers. And dude, you would not believe. And then this kind of birthed like a bit out of it, because I realized like what a cruel thing that black people got called this derogatory term, the N-word, for so long. And they finally thought of a word like, this is what we'll call white people. We'll call them crackers to get back at them. And if you call a white person a cracker, they think it's funny. But if you call a black person a cracker, they get mad. So it's just another word that makes them mad. I thought that was so funny. And I got one guy was like, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you. Like he was threatening my life.
That's great.
On
That's
Twitter.
Okay.
And I was dying laughing.
Twitter, don't worry about that.
It was the funniest. Exactly. And that guy didn't get banned. It was the funniest like 2-3 days ever. Just going back and forth with Talib and his people. And I was like, this is how it's done. Like, this is how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to have fun with it, because we're on the internet and none of this is real.
And you're taking up this guy's fucking time.
Exactly. And this guy's fuming. And he actually if I was there in front of him, tweeting in front of him, he might do something violent to me. And I'm oh, I'm so deep in your head right now.
I'm under your skin, bro. This fucking little Jewish kid from Jersey.
I know, right? I'm like, come on. I have no business being there.
Yeah. How did you get to this level of popularity and you're letting this fucking little fucking Jewish kid just get under your skin?
I know. Yeah, well, with Talib, it was more like I was trying to flip it on him because I said, I forget what he said. At one point, he just said something like insulting to me, and I was like, so what you're saying is you're anti-Semitic. I was like, I'm a proud Jewish man, and you're being very anti-Semitic right now. And he's like, I'm not anti-Semitic. I love Jewish people. And I was like, that's a lie. I was like, that's exactly what an anti-Semite would say. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, so I took all the white shit that he was doing to me, and I just flipped it on him with the Jewish stuff. And it's like, to try to illustrate to him how absurd. Obviously, it didn't work. No, he just doubled down and tripled down.
Yeah. That's a blind spot.
But the whole, it was so funny, man. It was so funny. I loved it.
That's a blind spot. He doesn't see that shit.
Exactly. He doesn't see it. He doesn't see the. They don't see the hypocrisy of it.
The absurdity of. I don't know. I only had that one instance with the kids from Newton, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts on the Barstool, Newtown on the Barstool Sports page. They posted the video of them throwing that game-winning touchdown, and all I did was just type actors. Bro, that set off a chain of events that I didn't participate in trolling. That was my only trolling, was just saying actors. That was the troll. And that got people going back and forth, and people are saying, that's not funny, you shouldn't say that. Then there are other people are defending me, saying, it's just a joke, stupid. He's not even,
That's funny, too, because it's Barstool, so you're going to get that mix.
Exactly.
You're going to get that mixed bag. It's not like, I'll go to the feminism page on Instagram and troll.
It's 30,000 to 1.
But there are people like me. It's become more popular. You can go to the comments, and you'll find 1 out of every 5 comments is a troll.
Nice.
And I'm like, thank you guys for joining me here.
Yeah, you know what I like? I like when I listen to a podcast where they mention somebody that's a douche, just by name, when they fucking call somebody out in a podcast that's really popular, that has a strong following, right? And they mention somebody by name that did something douchey, and then you go to that person's social media, or you go to their Instagram or their Twitter, and you just go into their responses, and it's people that listen to the same thing you listen to, and they're calling them out on it. Oh,
I love that.
And they're just people smashing them in the comments, and I'm like, oh, and then I go through picture.
Oh, who did that? Jim Jeffries did that to some Jewish guy, some Israeli guy. This just made me think of it. What you said, because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
that he tried to make this Israeli guy look really bad from the interview, but that's what they all do. All the late night shows, they'll interview you as a spoof. These people who they disagree with, and then they'll just take the clips where the person looks the worst. But this Israeli guy, being a sneaky Jew like he is, he just put his phone on a chair and put his jacket over it, so it was filming them. And so then he released the full interview for an hour. And it's like Jim Jeffries looks like more of a douche than this Israeli guy does.
That's fun.
So then he released it. And then you go, at least for a while there, every time I went to anything that Jim Jeffries tweeted, there were at least a few people yeah, you should apologize, you asshole. There was at least a few, every few comments, hey, man. I think the guy's name was Ari or something.
Yeah, because, it's almost like you get mad, and it's your little way to get justice in the world. I hear something sometimes, and I'm like, you fucking did that, bro. Literally mid-conversation, I'll pull Twitter up, and I want to say something. And this is what the social media break has brought to me, has been patience and not having to respond. So I'll pull it up, and I'll type a fucking thing, and then I won't send it. Then I'll just delete it and be like, well, at least I typed it. I got it out. But there's no need. It's literally going to do nothing for me. The anger version. The trolling, like you said, there's a very good distinction. And you make a really good distinction, because that gives you something back. You have a purpose.
And you are doing it at the expense of someone else.
100%.
But I'm not
that's okay, though.
I'm not altruistic.
Yes.
It's all about intent. I just want to have fun on the internet.
It's all about
That's
intent.
all. If I got to bother people that have fun on the internet, then people are going to get bothered. But maybe they could see what I'm doing because I try to make it as obvious as possible that that's what's happening, that they're being trolled. I try to make that so obvious that if they don't see that, then they kind of deserve. I used to get, this was my favorite thing, when I would get into arguments with people, fake arguments on my end. And then I would say something ridiculous and the person will respond and go, hey, that's not right. And I'd say something more absurd. And then they go, hey, that's also not right. And then I'd say something more absurd and they go, wait a second, are you just fucking around right now? And I go, yeah, dude. And they go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And like sometimes there were like really good moments where we actually like get along. We'd actually like, they'd be like, you got me. And I'd be like, yeah, I got you, bitch. That's like,
you might even get a follower out of it.
Exactly. Like that's literally, it's happened before where I've like gotten this person to like hate me to within like 3 tweets. They're like, oh yeah, I'll throw you a follow. Like, hey, what's up?
You know what? Even the trolling, and when you're doing it with the intent of being funny, and you're doing it with the intent of either pointing out something that's audacious or pointing out something ridiculous by being sarcastic, like. Yeah. The people that don't like it, whatever. But you're going to get the people that... You know how many followers I got from that fucking Newtown comment? People that were just... They kept following me. Then I was getting DMs from the football players like, douche, can't say shit. Like, you can't say actors. Yeah. you can't say actors. And I'm like... And then remember with you, I deleted that comment too. We were talking that time and I posted on one of their pages. I did that on the one kid's page. I posted actor again. And then like his friends started attacking me and I deleted it. I was like, you know what? I don't really want to like get the ride. This is, like it's funny, but this is going to really be negative for them to the point where one of them might actually want to try to kill me or hurt. You know what I mean? Like, or like it gets, I don't want it to get viral and then it be like, me trying to be famous on the backs of deaths of kids. Yeah, because
that one was more on the nose, like you went out of the way. So exactly. I get why you would have deleted that.
Then I was just like, all right, I'm just being like, the guy hasn't said nothing to me in 3 weeks, and all of a sudden I pop back up on his page like actor again out of nowhere. I thought that was hilarious, and he messaged me again. You're a fucking retard. And I thought to myself in my head, like, bro, that guy didn't hear from me for a while. All of a sudden, here I pop up again with this douche comment that got him so mad in the beginning. That was good though. But those trolls, I feel like are different because they don't have that negative connotation with it, like negative energy. That negative intent means so much, especially to your own well-being and to your interaction with them. Because if you negatively troll somebody on their comeback, how you behave really determines how the rest of the conversation goes. Like if you're trolling for fun, you're going to make it fun. You're trying to make them laugh. You're trying to make light of the situation. Like you're trying to bring people around with humor to let them know what your intent is. Other than attacking, like if you were being negative, I think like the way I would go about it, I was not trying to make these people laugh. No, I mean that could be a byproduct of it. I was trying to make myself laugh, exactly. But it was also more like I'm not going out of my way to mess with people who are being respectful or civil. I'm messing with these people who are being really terrible on the internet. And then I'm like, okay, if you want to be terrible, like don't be terrible to him. I'll hop in here. Be terrible to me. Because I'm behind the phone laughing, but you don't know that. Yes. Like you think you're really getting me. I'm like, waste your energy on me. Because maybe that person you actually are bothering. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm bored. I got nothing to do. Bro. So fuck with me. Exactly. I try to tell people this all the time. I am God's greatest gift to this earth. I'm the second coming of Jesus. He was Jewish. I'm Jewish. He was handsome. I'm handsome. I'm saying there's so many similarities. Twitter, you were doing Twitter Miracle. And then the Twitter Pharisees, the Pharisees.
Whatever that means, man.
Right? Those are the guys that tried to ban Jesus and that Jesus had to beef with. Or something. I don't know.
There's so many parallels to his story and mine. That's what I'm trying to say. He was a carpenter. I like rugs.
You should have said you like wood. That would have been more accurate.
Is that what carpentry is?
Yeah.
I thought it was like rugs.
No. Carpentry is woodwork. Like whoever built this chair is a carpenter.
That's a carpenter?
Yeah.
But then why does it have the word carpet in it?
Carpet? No, it's carpent. Yeah.
All right, well, I learned something. So this wasn't a total waste of time.
See? He came all the way over here to learn about carpentry and some woodwork.
Yeah. Well, we should wrap it up now because we got to go to Barry's.
Oh, you got to go to Barry's. I'm not going.
You're not going?
I got to edit this podcast and do some other things.
Okay, man.
But dope, man. I'm glad you came through. Since you're moving to the city, you're moving on. How's that?
That's facts, bro.
You
March
excited?
1st. Of course, I'm excited.
Bro, that's good, bro.
I'm ready to leave.
I'm
this
really
scene
excited
behind.
for you. I was fucking with you in text messages because my initial reaction was jealousy.
Well, you're a very dry texter also. You just text, everything has a period and it's short sentences.
Punctuation. I'm so anal about punctuation.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that.
I don't know why
It's
either.
very
It's just,
off-putting.
I'm just punctuation, spaces, paragraphs,
Yeah.
proper shit. But you're moving to fucking New York. That's dope. So I'm excited. But I am excited for that. I got jealous at first. That's why I was hateful. My initial response was hate because I'm like, fucking guys, living the fucking dream. It's going to be over there.
It's going to be rough, dude. It's going to be rough for a while. But whatever. That's where I got to be.
Listen, you have to look at it like these times are going to be treasures.
Yeah, you're right. I do look at it that way.
You have to like embrace it, man. I remember like being a room, like all the times that I remember where I struggled the most for like things that I wanted and got, like those mean the most. Like those memories, those times, they define your character and all that good shit. Like that's really exciting. So, and it's going to be really beneficial to your growth too as a fucking person. Right now you live by yourself or with
my parents?
You live with your parents. So it's going to be your first time living alone?
Basically.
How old are you?
26.
26. Perfect, bro. I think that's
well, I'm gonna have roommates too.
Time. Yeah, I mean that's so what? That's good.
Two comedians, hilarious comedians.
That's how you live, bro. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do it.
I'm pretty stoked.
You got any shows coming up?
Let's see. Characters in Sloatsburg on the 31st. That'll be a good show. I probably got some more stuff coming up, but I don't remember.
Word. All right. So that's it, man. We did about an hour.
Good for us.
Awesome, bro. Always good talking to you. We'll have you on before you move to New York.
All right, dog.
Again, thanks.
Great episode. Great stuff.
Hey, welcome to the podcast. Here's another episode for you. Back to back. This episode, I have my good friend Dave Namery. He's a local comedian here in New Jersey. And I met Dave through the open mic scene. We became good friends. I always have really good conversations with Dave, which is why I asked him to be on. And today we talked about podcasting, and we talked about some stuff about the equipment, some geek stuff. We talked a lot about trolling, and we talked about the effects of trolling on your mind and your psyche and how to really effectively troll somebody with good intent. And I also talked more about like the landmark stuff that I talked about in my previous episode. And we had a good talk, so I'm hoping you will enjoy it. I'm always looking for feedback that you can provide for me to make these episodes better. I'm improving the quality of the sound, so hopefully you enjoy that. And I want to keep having these guests on to have interesting conversations, keep sharing my experiences that I hope will be beneficial to other people, and also beneficial to me to relive them and to really remember where I came from and the lessons that I've learned in life. By passing those lessons on, hopefully I relive them, relearn them, and I don't have to make the same mistakes twice. So with that, also just want to remind you that Laugh It Up Tuesdays at Nikki's Bar and Grills every Saturday. I'm sorry, oh my God, Laugh It Up Tuesdays are every Saturday. All right, that's not what you want to say. What you want to say is Laugh It Up Tuesdays is every Tuesday at Nikki's Bar and Grill in Little Ferry, New Jersey, 9 p.m. It's a free comedy show. No cover. There's free parking. There's plenty of parking. You don't have to worry about meters. You don't have to worry about, fighting for spots. There's plenty of spots. Park. Delicious food and drink specials. Wings are off the hook. Pizza's off the hook. It's Taco Tuesday. Get there early so you can get the happy hour menu. Get something in your belly, and then sit back and relax, enjoy some drinks, and enjoy the show. 90-minute show featuring some of the funniest comedians from New Jersey, New York City, up and coming. Some of them are fast risers. Some of them are learning. Some of them are figuring out. But, a lot of funny people, and we put on a good show, and I'd like you to come out and enjoy it. All right, do me that favor, or do me the favor of leaving me a review on this podcast. Either or. I hope I bring you some value, and in turn, you will hook me up with your attention. All right, so that's it. I'm done rambling. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, no, I don't want to start saying without further ado. All right, everybody, here's the podcast. Dave Namery. Bye.